Hello, TikTok. Welcome to the first class. I'm Morgan Rodimer. I'm a witch, I am an astrologer, and I'm a diviner. I'll wait for some of you guys to get in here before I start. Put on music. That chaperone stuck in my head forever. Hello, Judes. We're talking astrology transits today. So if you guys have any questions about how to read a transit chart, drop them in the chat. And if you want to be the featured student, I have $21 readings in the bio, so I can use you as an example. Good afternoon. Oh, Reflector. Okay, have I seen you on Brenna's lives before? You seem familiar. Hello, everyone. I'm Morgan Rodimer. You guys know me as the Alchemy Professor on here. I'm a practicing witch, diviner, and astrologer. Yay! Yeah, today we're talking about how to look at a transit chart. This is today's behind me. I just screenshotted it. And we're going to talk about any questions you guys have about looking at transits, comparing them to your chart. If you want me to use your chart as the example, the paid readings are in my bio, in my link tree. It should be the top link. And I'll keep an eye out for them. But if you have any general questions about transits that everyone can learn from, please put them in the chat and we can talk all about it. Today's transits are very interesting. Sorry, this is a solo show today. Hey, Gabe! Woo! Welcome to the chat. We are learning about transits today. Today's transits are pretty crazy. Hello, hello. I will kind of get started in a little bit. I'm just going to let a few people filter in. But like I said, if you have any questions, I know today, the end of Mercury shadow period. So excited. I might make content about that because I have been doing a little like study on this Mercury retrograde. I literally have been going with the ephemeris degree by degree from the first shadow period through the retrograde and this shadow period and journaling what happened. Sorry guys, this is a show. My third house of Virgo with my Libra Mars mood. I mean, Gemini Sun, Virgo Jupiter. I am like, please, Mercury, go forward completely. Get out of this muck, especially because of the Aries eclipses that happened, the Aries eclipse that happened during the Libra eclipse that happened during the first shadow period. So it's just like, can we please have some relaxation, some peace, some things actually going well? Granted, it's interesting because it being Taurus season and Venus in Taurus, Sun in Taurus, I think Mercury will be entering Taurus soon after the shadow period is over, but that's all squaring Pluto right now. So while Taurus is such like a relaxing and secure sign to like hang out in, it's also, oh my god, I forgot you have an Aries moon. Ooh. But while Taurus is normally like really relaxing, the fact that it is squaring Pluto is gonna make it really uncomfortable for all of us as a collective, and we're kind of seeing that right now. I mean, Taurus is all about like financial security and like making sure that like we're okay and we're comfortable, but meanwhile the world is going through a very uncomfortable rebirth where we're switching the narrative and focusing on humanity and community as a whole, whereas most of us, our entire lives, well, I think everyone our entire lives, have been not taught that by society, even if we feel that way on the inside. So it's like we're having to recalibrate and re-perceive everything that we do and decide, does this actually align with our values now? So that's really uncomfortable with Taurus season. Today's kind of interesting though, because I was just talking about it a little bit, but Venus, that rules our values in Taurus, is sextiling Saturn. If you have a sextile, that means that the elements go well together. They're not the same, but they are compatible, so they alchemize really easily, and that's usually going to spur on the energy. Think about like air and fire, air making fire like bigger, and then water and earth making like the earth more nourished. So a sextile is going to have that energy to it. So Venus in Taurus is being nourished by Saturn in Pisces today at 17 degrees. And that means that our spiritual diligence, Saturn in Pisces, is helping along our values in our human experience, Venus in Taurus. So while it can feel really uncomfortable with the Aquarian energy, Pisces is at least helping out with like, just remember that if you align with, you know, your spiritual discipline, that this discomfort can be helped along, and you just have to have hard work in that sense, and it will all work out for the collective at one point or another. I mean, this is a 20-year-long Pluto and Aquarius transit, so. But please let me know if you guys have any questions. Yeah, Saturn loves hard work. Well, Saturn loves when you put your time into things that matter, because Saturn is the god of time, so it's all about like how much time are you spending on things that matter to you in the long run. That's why it rules not just Capricorn but also Aquarius, because both of them are talking about long-term stability, and Capricorn's that like personal long-term stability for you and your family and your lineage, and then Aquarius is like long-term stability for the species. That's why Aquarius has that hero vibe, because it's very like Superman, Batman, like I want to save the world, I don't want to just save me and my loved ones and my family. And that's kind of where you get the Spider-Man, like, do I save Mary Jane or do I save the train full of people? That's very Aquarius, like, oh no. Do I save the love of my life or do I save the civilians? I would say that that's kind of the energy of Taurus season right now as well, with it squaring Pluto and Aquarius, because it's like, that's like the literal thing. It's like, do I save myself right now, or do I work towards a better future for all? Especially because Taurus season is, it traditionally rules Aquarius. So we didn't have the view of the latter planets for a while, so we only saw up to Saturn. So those are going to rule all of the signs, and then the modern rulers are going to co-rule some of the signs. Like Saturn and Uranus rule Aquarius, and then Taurus stellium in the 11th house. Well, an 11th house is ruled by Aquarius, so that's very interesting that you have that literal juxtaposition in your chart of like, do I save my loved ones or do I save my community? But for you, it's almost like your community is your loved ones and your loved ones are your community. There's that like overlap there. That's very interesting. I'm curious how that plays out. I love how every time we discover something new about our universe. Yeah, isn't that great? That's why I kind of like learning about all of the new like asteroids. Like I use time passages for my daily transits because it allows you to put more of the asteroids and other placements than most of the other apps will let you. I do like Astro Matrix, I'm learning it right now, but Time Passages is my OG. It's just changed a bit, so it's behind a lot of paywalls right now. But I want to see if you can see, yeah, like there's Chiriclo is great, Ceres is great. I don't really know much about Pholus and Nessus. They are they're kind of darker mythos, so I tend to avoid learning about those ones. But they're just kind of like weird. Like I think Nessus is about like betrayal, because like he first gets betrayed, so then he does something terrible to betray the person who betrays him. So it's kind of like a weird vengeance, darkness energy. So I don't really like teaching about that because I like to teach about the ways in which we can avoid that energy. Then we got Lilith here. And I was telling Brenna, you guys might know her, she's a wonderful human design reader and one of my very good friends. But Lilith is technically a mathematical placement. It's not like an actual thing you can see through a telescope. That's the same with like your north and south nodes. Those are the placements that eclipse points will happen. So they're not things you can see through your telescope. They're just like points in the sky geometrically. But let me know if you guys have any questions about transits, particularly any that are coming up or have already happened, and I can try to clarify them for you. Figured we could also talk about aspects, because I feel like that's a big part of transits, is knowing what aspects energetically affect you in what way. And of course, if you want me to look at your chart personally as the featured student, you can go ahead and book a reading in my bio, and we will use your chart for the class. Welcome back. I was just discussing how we can use anyone's in the chat's chart as the featured student, so I will use your chart as an example. It would be a paid reading in my bio, because you will get direct mentorship from that link. Unable to get the link for the TikTok reading. Oh, okay. So you went to my the link tree and you saw the Calendly thing. Let me see if my link tree is just being a butt. Thanks for letting me know. It's not loading. Of course it isn't. Alchemy professors. Office hours. Okay. It should be working, but let's see. TikTok live readings. Copy link. Okay, wait. Try again. I think because I changed the name of my reading, it changed the URL, I love how Mercury retrograde shadow period was just like, just one more thing before I go. Is anyone else getting old posts on their For You page right now? Like, I'm getting posts I've already seen in, like, back from February, and yeah, just one more stereotype of Mercury. Yeah, okay, I keep getting, like, and it's not even just, like, that they're old, it's, like, posts I've literally seen before, and they're, like, from February and March, so before the Mercury retrograde and before eclipse season. And I'm like, thank you for the reminder, but also that's really trippy. Speaking of which, I just posted, yeah, it's so weird. Maybe just because we're all kind of like doing the block of all of the bigger creators, they're like, I don't know what to push to you, so I'm just gonna give you stuff you already have. But it's interesting because I was looking up the Aries mythos of the constellation Aries, and I just posted a video on it, but I was looking up like how to spell the names of the people because I'd forgotten. And I found out that in Pompeii, they found a fresco of the story of the Aries mythos back in March. And it was 1 month before the Aries eclipse. So I thought that was really fascinating timing. But that the myth of Aries is so funny to me. Aries is all about like, you know, like we have all these stereotypes of these signs, and to know like why we have the stereotypes for them is just like so interesting. I'm like, how did we get from A to B? This is not really adding up. Seeing some new people joining in. If you guys have any questions about astrology transits we're learning here today, sorry, bud, this solo show. We are learning about astrology transits. If you want to do any readings with me or want to be the featured student, the link is in my bio. It should be working. Let me see if your thing went through. Let me know, Judes, if it was working for you. Oh, I think it just went through. Sweet. Let me get your stuff in here, Judy. Perfect. Cool, cool, cool. And then let me know if there's... Oh, that will help prepare for our meeting. Hey, Judes, can you give me some information about the meeting you're talking about? Oh, I'm sorry, that was my thing. Let me know if there's any specific questions that you want to know for the transits for your thing, but let me just pop it in for today's transit for now. But if there's a specific one that you'd rather me look at, let me know. Hi, welcome in, guys. We're doing transit readings and teaching how to look at it with your chart. When I show your chart, I'm going to be showing it on my laptop. The one behind me is today's chart. So let's see. And it's almost in. I need to get like one of those Bluetooth mouse again because I hate trackpads. They feel so terrible on the fingers. Tried to click your link, but it's not working for me. Gabe, try one more time, like refresh it even, because I had to redo the link. It seemed to have worked for Judy the second time, but let me know. And then 9, 8. New York. Okay. Oops. Okay, Judy, let's check out your transit for today. Okay, so I'm going to flip so that you guys can see. Oh, because of the green screen. Hold on a second. Okay, that didn't work. Oh, now we've lost the background. Oh, okay, we're just gonna do it this way. Okay. Oh no, it's just not gonna show up. Well, okay, you're just gonna have to hear it from the top of my head. So, we have... Oh, you're a Taurus. Okay, awesome. You already had your birthday. Happy birthday. In April 29th. Moon in Sag. Ooh, okay. So the moon is trining your moon. And now how we would know that is the moon in your chart is in Sagittarius, which is a fire sign, and the moon right now is in Leo, which is also a fire sign. So that's a really easy way to figure out if something is trining, is if they are the same element. This is not always the case because it's a mathematical equation where it has to be a certain amount of degrees apart. For a trine, it has to be 120 degrees apart. But generally, unless it's on a cusp, it's going to be fire, 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 water, 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 earth, 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 air, air, air. And that's how you know you have a trine. For a sextile, it is compatible elements usually. And then for a square, they have what's called the same quality. And the same quality is going to be fixed, mutable, and cardinal. Sorry, off the top of my head. I'm trying to figure out how to take off this stupid effect. Settings, maybe? Nope. Okay, we're just gonna deal with the lovely checkered background for now. Anyway, so for your moon trining the moon, your moon is even at 6 degrees, and this moon right now is, it says 2, my other one said 3, but it's very close to your moon degree. So that means that they're definitely going to have this easy energy with each other, which is cool because that means you have like an emotional ease right now. Or it is that fire comes to you easily. So that's an interesting thing with trines, is sometimes it just feels like chill and like easy because there's nothing like, there's no friction there. But think of like if you're going downhill and there's no friction, you're sliding really fast to the bottom. So that's kind of an energy of a trine. And then for a sextile as a difference, where it's still just compatible energies, compatible elements, but they're not the exact same. They alchemize with each other, and so there is that kind of like that slight friction that's productive, like that kind of like, ooh, we're doing something together, we're alchemizing. So today you have the Leo moon giving your Sagittarius moon a bit of a boost, a bit of like a fiery, like, here, have some energy, which I really love. I have also been noting that when we look at moon transits, it can sometimes be very literal. So I will literally, the moon will be in Capricorn, and my dad, who's a Capricorn moon, will text me. And I'm like, okay. Like, way to be like on the nose. Another fun way though is like the moon is in Leo. Leo is all about performance. This is a solo show. Oh, okay, cool. I don't know if it's been this way for you guys, but my thing came back. Yay. Leo is all about performance and about being seen and having attention on us. And so sometimes with the moon in Leo, like the fact that you are the featured student today, yay, okay, the chart's back. The fact that you're the featured student today, that kind of lends like this star quality to what's going on. Like, we're literally looking at your moon, so it is giving like attention to your moon sign. Kind of like gives you that like little like razzle dazzle moment, which I kind of love. And then, yes, exactly. And then with the Taurus sun, it's at a later degree than yours, so it's like it's there, but it's kind of like soft, like it's just kind of around you atmospherically, like it's Taurus season. So it's all about, you know, the 5 senses, about our security, about our comfort, about our value, like our self-value, because it rules the 2nd house of self-worth and self-value, and the things it's the phrase I have. So anything that belongs to you or that you bring to the table, is going to be that Taurus energy. And because that's sun sign, that is going to be how to express yourself, particularly creatively. I know we all know our sun signs, but that's just because it's the easiest one to track, because all you need is your birthday to know what your sun sign is. You don't really... Some people need their birth time if they're on like the cusp, but most of us don't need our birth time to know what our sun sign is. And so it's a very popular, which is really funny because the sun is very like about performance, about being seen. And of course, it's the one sign that everyone can figure out just by knowing their birthday. However, when people actually see you as a person, it tends to be more your ascendant line, which is going to be this guy right here. And that is in Cancer for you. Oh, I love that. I think I saw, what was the degree? Something's in Cancer. Vesta. I love the Vesta. I think it's like a set of asteroids, like asteroid belt, or it's an asteroid itself. I'll have to look that up. But Vesta is based off of the same constellation that Virgo is based off of, which is about the Vestal Virgins. I actually talked about this in my Hermit video, but the Vestal Virgins were the priestesses that were dedicated to Artemis, I believe, and they dedicated themselves and their lives to the study and like sacred devotion to the higher powers. And so when you have that in your chart, which right here you can see that it is in Cancer right now at 14 degrees, when you have Vesta in your chart, yours is, oh, it won't show me on this one. It is where you're sacredly devoted. So we are all sacredly devoted right now to Cancerian energy, which is interesting because it was just Mother's Day yesterday. But Cancerian energy is actually about the devotion to the maternal. So that doesn't necessarily mean softness, but it does mean the emotional strength of a family. So because sometimes it's not your actual mom who did the mothering, sometimes it's your older sibling, sometimes it's your dad, sometimes it's your teacher. So I always say maternal energy because it's like the person who made you feel emotionally safe and secure. And that's how you come across with your rising sign. People are like naturally emotionally comfortable around you. And then with Vesta right now being actually pretty close, because you're a 12-degree Cancer rising and Vesta's at 14, so it's only 2 degrees away from it. That means that it's basically conjunct. And so Vesta is that sacred dedication. So for you, how that's going to show up is actually a sacred dedication to emotionally nurturing yourself and how you come across to people. And like being a little bit more self-nurturing about like, oh, it's okay if my makeup's not as cute as I wanted it to be today, or it's okay if like I gained a few pounds or something, like things, because the first house rules our body and how like our self-image. It could even be like, I wish I'd come across a little differently to somebody today, but like when I was just like talking to them, I wish I'd left a better first impression, might be like our normal critical thoughts. But with Vesta there's a sacred dedication to being kinder to yourself and to having that Cancerian energy, but for yourself. And like showing like, I am mother. It's like that sound that's going around on TikTok that's like, they call me mother. That's like very much like the energy that's going on with Vesta on your Cancerian ascendant. It's like, but doing that for yourself and like being like, you know what, I actually am a bad bitch, and I'm gonna strut my stuff, and I'm going to like feel good about myself, and the softness and the love that I give to other people, I'm gonna turn that towards me too and be more self-forgiving. So I really love that. But a big thing to learn for all of you when you're looking at transits is the degree numbers. So it helps so much if you don't even look at aspects yet and just look at matching or similar numbers. So for instance, I just said how she's a 12-degree Cancer rising, but we have the 14-degree Cancer Vesta here. So it is really, really close to each other. And then when you learn about the matching numbers, you find out like, okay, they're matching numbers, but let's say it was back to your moon in Sagittarius versus the moon right now in Leo. and they are also very similar degrees, but they're the same element, they're just different signs. So you learn, okay, same element, different signs, that's a trine. And because they're the same element, they talk to each other with ease. They understand each other's, like, where they're coming from, and that's why it's considered an easy energy. Do you have any particular planets or, like, any energies going on today that you'd like me to investigate with your chart with the transits? And then, Gabe, I'm going to see if your thing came through at all. Hey, there you are. What time is it? Cool. Gabe, yours went through, so you will be up next. That was great. Okay, wonderful. Okay, I'm so glad that worked out for you. But yeah, the big thing that with all transits is look at the matching numbers. That's how I figured out today that Mercury is conjunct Jupiter and that the Sun is conjunct Uranus. So there's a lot of conjunctions today that are going to cause some really big energy. Even just like for the collective, if not personally, depending on your personal placements. That's why looking at a transit and then looking at your chart, you'll be like, oh, this astrology reader said that this was the energy for today, but for me personally, it wasn't like that. It's like, yeah, because your chart isn't everyone's chart. But like, for instance, not everyone's going to have a fire sign moon, so not everyone's going to feel kind of like that sort of fun burst of energy from the Leo moon. If you have a Taurus moon at an early degree, it might be squaring your emotional self and making you feel really uncomfortable. So there's a lot at play here when it comes to transits, but it's all about the numbers. Fire moons rule, yes. As an Aquarius moon, an air sign moon, I love my fire moons. You guys are all fantastic. You guys bring the best vibes, honestly. And then just a few more minutes and then we'll get yours started, Gabe. But if anyone has any general questions in the chat about transit charts or wants to be another featured student, there are plenty of spots open in the link tree in my bio. Oh, Libra and Aries is such a cute pairing for moon signs. I love that, although it must be kind of rocky with the eclipses going on right now. You guys are like taking turns teaching and learning from each other emotionally. And Leo moon. Hi, origami. We are learning about astrology transits. If you have any questions, please leave them in the chat. And if you want to be a featured student, link tree in my bio. Venus is in it. Oh, okay. So he already has that opposition going. So he was just like, bring it on. Yeah. My Mars is in Aries, so definitely love Aries energy. I'm just like, it's comfortable. Granted, that eclipse was fun. That's the one thing about eclipses is even when it's, okay, so eclipses are north and south node points happening on top of a new or full moon. And what is in a new moon, thus it's dark and it's at night and you can't see anything, that is going to be the south node. And when it is a full moon, but we can't see anything because it's getting, or not, I'm sorry, when it's on the sun and you can't see it and it gets blocked out, that is the north node. So the north node is considered more powerful, and the eclipses that happen that cover the sun are considered more powerful because it's blocking out daylight and thus blocking out growth and sight and knowledge, which is what the sun can represent. So when we have our north node eclipses, they are very intense. Even if it is your north node or it's a comfortable energy in your chart, the north node itself is about discomfort because it's about destiny. It's about like the hero's journey. Yeah, the sun does not like to be blocked. Imagine a Leo on stage and then someone just standing right in front of them. Like, absolutely not. No. So that's how I always perceive it is By the way, I think I said new moon. I meant full moon for the south node. But yeah, closes the curtain. They're like, excuse me, I was singing my aria. Like, but yeah, so with the north node, it's all about pursuing a destiny, and it's about leaving your comfort zone. So anytime that there's a north node eclipse, that's going to be really uncomfortable. And even if it's like something you know that you want to be pursuing, you want to be brave, it still is like, I kind of imagine it, especially in Aries, as like, you're a really strong warrior. If anyone knows the anime Berserk, it's like the main character Guts. He's like really strong and badass, and like, yeah, he's never afraid of a fight. But I could just imagine like him versus like way more like monsters and soldiers than normal, and it's just like, okay, gotta get into that uncomfortable berserker mode of like I know that this is uncomfortable right now, but I know it's what's gonna lead me to victory, and I secretly kind of like it a little bit, even though it's hard. So that is where the North Node eclipse energy tends to affect us. I love that you've seen Berserk. That's great. Such a crazy intense show. It's also my 5-2. Ooh, yeah. It also makes sense that you would, like, I've been talking with Brenna a lot. If you guys don't know Brenna, Brenna's here, and she's a human design reader, and she's amazing. If you follow her, she's doing a lot of, like, astrology meets human design content right now, and I've been really loving seeing all the correlations between like the different gates and the different channels and stuff. Yes, definitely book her. She's amazing. So when it comes to Aries energy, it's so interesting to see you also have like the confrontation, because it's kind of like your astrology is like supporting that, even though it didn't really have to. It's like, it is interesting. Although I have been learning a lot about how the crosses have to do with the qualities in astrology. It's giving me extra ammo. Yes. And the qualities in astrology, if you guys are unaware, are fixed, mutable, and cardinal. And so when you have like your crosses in human design, it's usually either made up of cardinal signs, mutable signs, or fixed signs. Mine is all mutable. Giving me extra ammo. Okay, let's put your info in, Gabe, and see what the transit today is doing. Also, if you have any specific transits you'd like me to look at, let me know. I have Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter stuck in my head because it's like literally all over my For You page. And also we play it here a lot. It's a great song, but it's also just like stuck. Ooh, Chiron. Okay, cool. Intense. Wait a second. Oh, okay. I got your moon and your sun mixed up, and I was like, December. The drink and the song. Yes, exactly. Oh. Wow, you guys are both the same age, by the way, you and Judy. That's right, same birthday as Taylor Swift. I remembered finding out her astrology and her human design, although her rising sign is debated, but we're all like, you're a Scorpio rising and you can't fool us. But it's very interesting to see it play out in real time with the transits. Cool. Yeah, she's definitely Scorpio rising. The way she just like loves to be so secretive about everything, and like we know but we don't know, and like just the way she also like loves like mysteries and like clues solving and like all that kind of stuff is just like, girl. Although she also has her Mars in Scorpio, I believe. So even if she didn't have a Scorpio rising, she would still have that energy in her chart. So that's where it's kind of like, we don't know. Okay, Chiron. I know Chiron's doing something today. Oh, yeah. So there is right here behind me. Oh, I want you guys, look at this pen. Isn't it great? Okay, hold on. So I'm using this as a pointer, except that it keeps disappearing, so I'm just gonna use my finger. Okay, so this green guy right here is Ceres. I forgot the Greek name. I think it's Hestia, but it's goddess of the hearth. So it's all about like nurturing, like self-nurturing, and nurturing like the home and the home and the hearth, right? So that kind of like comfortable energy I kind of associate, and nurturing like the home and the home and the hearth, right? So that kind of like comfortable energy I kind of associate home and the hearth, right? So that kind of like comfortable energy I kind of associate it a little bit with Cancer, even though it's ruled by the moon. Kind of like, you know, a birthday, a promotion, like that kind of energy usually. Oh, do you need me to repeat anything? I was talking about how right now our comfort nurturing energy is conjunct the vertex point of fate. So that's very interesting because it's also, they're both in Capricorn, and Capricorn is all about ambition and hard work and kind of like that promotion energy of like going up the mountain. I always say that the phrase for Capricorn is aim high but dive deep. I heard about comfort and nurturing conjunct fate. Okay, yes. So that is all squaring Chiron in Aries right now, which for you is your moon sign. Let me see, the degrees are pretty late though, 21, that's right. And then Chiron right now should also be at 21. Oh, Chiron at, yeah, 21. So they're all at 21 degrees right now, squaring each other, and that means that they are going to have, what does it mean that a lot of my degrees are in the 20s? I have a lot of that too. So when you have early degrees, your soul this lifetime is learning that energy because it's very fresh and early in the sign. It hasn't learned all of the lessons of that sign yet. And then when it's really late, it's in mastery mode. So from 27 to 29, you're usually in that like, I'm very comfortable with this energy. I know this energy. When a point of fate hits that energy, I'm always like aware of how to like embody that pretty easily. So I feel like in the middle, it's kind of that teenager essence of like sort of testing. So, okay, so accumulated more knowledge in it. Yeah, exactly. So there would be more to mine within in those areas than you would in earlier or later degrees. But like later is almost like you're teaching us. But in the middle, it's like you're still learning, but you're not quite as fresh and new as those earlier degree signs. Very similar to adulting, but you're not quite as fresh and new as those earlier degree signs. Very similar to adulthood, but you're not quite as fresh and new as those earlier degree signs. Very similar to adulthood. Feeling and self-worth work with Chiron trining your sun and your Jupiter. So your creative expression and your Jupiter, which is like expansion of the mind, which is like very like wisdom oriented. And then it's having help from Chiron right now. So it's like let's tap into those wounds that you have, but let's alchemize them into wisdom and creative expression. So I really like that for you, actually. So it makes sense why you were curious about it. And then for your Chiron, 29 degrees of Taurus. Ooh, so end of this season is going to be a little bit spicy for you. When the sun is at the last few days. Yes, exactly. And creativity does not mean arts. It doesn't have to mean arts. It means literally taking or birthing something into the world. So when you're expressing yourself and doing like creative expression, it's very much like, how do you dress? How do you speak? Like, it's like, yeah, it's more about like the how you do something than the what you are doing. And when you're being creative, you are doing something that is not here before. So it's interesting because the sun, which is our creative expression, rules the 5th house of creativity. And the other part of creativity is childbearing. So it's literally bringing something into the world that was not here before. So our sun sign is how we express that. Whether that is literal childbearing or artistic childbearing or even just like a project or a business. There's also like so many other different ways. Like Taurus can be extremely creative. Cancer can be extremely creative. Yeah, that's why I was thinking about it, because you have your sun and your Jupiter in the 5th house of creativity, and so it's just like you're constantly birthing things. Are you also a manifesting generator? I feel like you are. And then looking at your Chiron's at 29. This Mercury and Jupiter at 27 degrees. Sorry guys, solo show today. Okay, you are. Oh duh, it says it in your it says it in your title. I'm so used to just like that's Gabe that I'm not even like reading your name anymore. Yes, so manifesting generator, constantly birthing things into the world. And I kind of think of it as like also like planting seeds. So just like constantly like Johnny Appleseed, just throwing Appleseed trees everywhere, which is why we have to be kind of careful as to what we plant or what we create, making sure that it aligns with our integrity and our values. You also have Uranus there, so you're very unique in the way that you create, so I love that. You also have Uranus there, so you're very unique in the way that you create, so I love that. Pain. Yeah, yes, you definitely have that wonderful, unique quality to you, and I love it, especially as an Aquarius moon. Anyone who's unique, I'm like, I love that. I remember learning that people would say like, oh, you're so different or unique as like an insult, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, that's like the best compliment. I can't imagine that like being in like a covered insult. Like, that's so stupid. Anyway. We have a 0 degree Lilith in Pisces. Yeah, so I do feel like Spirit right now is definitely like with Neptune in Pisces, having that ruler in there, so comfortable there, helping out your Chiron placement personally, and then Chiron in all of our transits helping out your Sun and your Jupiter. It's very much like make art, make music, create, tap in spiritually as much as possible, learn a lot about how to heal your specific wounds so that you can turn around and make it medicine for other people. Because the story of Chiron is he was the first and only centaur for a little while. So he had this wound, like emotionally, but he also got wounded physically, and he couldn't heal this physical wound, and no matter what he found. So he was studying medicine, and he was studying like all different kinds of medicines to try to heal his own wound, and wasn't able to. Oh yes, I would. Yes, create art around soul healing. That would be amazing. Even if it's just for yourself, that's going to like ripple effect in your life. You know, like when you do like it's just going to have the butterfly effect. But yeah, Chiron has that energy of it's a wound that we've constantly tried to heal our whole life, that we can't seem to fix that specific spot, but in trying to do so, we end up learning how to make other kinds of medicine, because he becomes a master of medicine, and he heals not only people but other gods and goddesses and other like spirits and deities, and they're so grateful to him that they ask him like what he would like in return. And he's immortal, so he can't die, and he's had this wound for like eons, and he's like, please, I just want rest. So they grant him rest, they remove his immortality, he passes away, and they put him up in the stars, and that's what Chiron is. So it is also like the healing of ourselves and our souls in the way that it transmits to other people, like how we're able to heal others by healing ourselves, and then eventually getting rewarded with peace. Tell me, hear my intuition. It says heal yourself and others will heal. Yeah, exactly. That's very Chiron. And Chiron is connected to the Sagittarius. Oh, I'm looking at this is today's. Chiron is connected to Sagittarius as well. That's what the centaur is in the constellation for Sagittarius. So even though we are ruled by Jupiter as a planet, the constellation is connected to Chiron. So Chiron is kind of like a little bit of a ruler as well of Sagittarius. Yeah. No one, like, that's the thing, is we have all these mythologies behind all the astrology, but it's not meant to be that we as humans are going to be perfect at any of it. Like, even when we heal ourselves, even when we're like our healthiest versions, we're still gonna have days where we fuck up. Like, we're still gonna have days where we make mistakes, where we accidentally go back to old ways, where we get triggered. That's what Chiron is. It's a wound that will never heal. It's like, oh yes, Prometheus. Oh, I love that. I still need to figure out mine. I think I have... Shit, I can't remember off the top of my head. I talked about it like a week ago with Brenna. Hi, Brenna! Speak of the devil. Brenna is the best human design reader ever, and she's my greatest friend, and I love her so much. And you guys should definitely book readings with her because she's amazing. We were just about to talk about godheads because I don't remember any of mine. But I was also talking about how Chiron is connected to the constellation of Sagittarius, but that even when you heal your Chiron, you can't ever like fully heal it. It's just like an endless energy that you're going to have your whole life, and you just get better at being more graceful about it. Hello, Kat. Welcome. There are still openings. I just finished up with Gabe's reading, and we just had Judy's as well. But there are still openings for anyone new in the chat for being a featured student. We're learning about astrology transits. Yeah, exactly. Getting graceful with the channel of struggle. Absolutely. Well, also just like you having that fifth house energy is so cool, because like, that's why Brenna and I were getting on you that one live about you being more positive, because the fifth house is like all about bringing joy and expression and creativity and performance into people's lives, because there's not a single sign or planet or house that is unnecessary. We have all 12 of them for a reason. And so even when we're in this Pluto and Aquarius, which is kind of about putting the spotlight on community and on everyone, fifth house energy is showing us the importance of like us getting attention as well and having that performance, because that can be just as healing. Like, think of like when you've seen like a movie or read a book or read a poem even that just like really touched your soul, but like the movie wasn't written for you, but it ended up connecting to you because we're all connected through the human experience. I realize I'm the one holding back. Me. Honestly, that's been like my entire journey with the sorry, I was checking. That's been my entire journey with manifesting and witchcraft and everything, has just been like showing myself where I can stop holding myself back, because at the end of the day, we're the only people that we have full control over. No, like we don't have control over anybody else in our lives, and so it's like even if they're in our way, we can control them not being in our life anymore. So emotions for healing, yes. Trying to look at today's transits as well. Oh, Pallas is in Sagittarius, which is your sun sign. Can I roar like Chewbacca? I can, but I won't. I don't like being told what to do. With your Sagittarius sun and Jupiter, oh, it's not going to be there yet, but a little bit. I'll check when it'll move, but it just entered Sagittarius, and Pallas is all about it's based off of Athena. So Athena is our strategy when it comes to war strategy. So it entering into Sagittarius means that it is our wisdom and our exploration and our expansion is the strategy we should all be taking as a collective right now. Ooh, I'm guessing you're trying to say tribute. I'm not sure what a dilatory is. Are you doing a chat to speak? Anyways, but with Pallas and Sagittarius, it just entered today, actually. Oh, I was like, you're what? Oh, that's so cute. I love that. Does she fit the name, or is it one of those, like, it's a derpy cat with, like, a smart person name? Smart goddess name. Oh, yes. Oh, okay. Okay. So she's Trixie. Very good. I love that. It's so funny because my cat's name is Astro, and she's a calico, so she's also got that mix. But it's funny because she came with the name Astro, and I actually just took it as like a sign. But now when I tell people her name is Astro, I'm always like waiting for like an astrologer with a cat named Astro. How original. Oh, cute. Oh, I love calicos. Oh, I'm surprised it's a boy. I heard for some reason, like maybe obviously it's a myth, but that calicos are always female. But that's interesting. He's rare. Of course. You know what's funny, actually? That makes sense with your chart, that you would have like kind of like a rare cat. Because if you think of them as your children, it would be your 5th house, like Uranus in 5th house. But small pets tend to be our 6th house, which is interesting. And then if we have a large pet, like a big dog or something, that's like your 12th house. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I see it, because like it's kind of hard to tell if Astro reflects my Taurus energy or my Aries energy, because she kind of has a little bit of both, so I could kind of see both ways. Like her Aries side is she can be a bit of a knucklehead, but her Taurus side is she literally will nap all day and she loves to cuddle, so a little bit of both. But she's a Gemini, like me, so. Trying to think if there's any other transits today. Venus sextile Saturn was a big thing. Mercury conjunct Jupiter. That was interesting to me. Obviously Taurus. Yes, they're very like chill energies when it's their sun sign. It's so, and I always say that Tauruses are so protected. Like I feel like of all of the signs, they're the ones that are so like, I think it's because like the thing that they're learning is about slowing down and savoring the human experience, that it's funny because a lot of Tauruses I know also have a lot of anxiety because they worry about like being secure, like physically so. So like that's like the unhealthy side, is they almost like create problems for themselves. And I'm like, you didn't have to do any of that. Like, you were fine. You just wanted to create an issue. But then the healthy side of Taurus is like, isn't this great? Like, I just want to enjoy this moment. I just want to savor this moment. I just want to like make this moment last forever. So because I have Taurus, Venus, and Mercury, so it is very much like that little back and forth of like, you are secure, you're fine, like there's no reason to freak out. He does do that to himself, and he's, yeah, I mean, like I said, we're all human. We're not going to be able to be like masters of any of the parts of our chart. We can just only ever do our best. But it's when people aren't doing their best that I'm like, what are you doing? But I think that's like having a Saturn ruled moon sign. I'm like emotionally like, if you're not trying your best as a human being, then like you're a waste of space. But interesting. Then, oh, with Mercury in Aries, wait, what? Hold on a second. Mercury and Jupiter, why did I? Oh no, they're semi-sextiling each other. I thought that was weird. Mercury's at the same degree as Jupiter right now, but they're in neighboring signs, and that's called a semi-sextile, because a full sextile is 2 signs over. So a semi-sextile is when it's only 1 sign over. And this is generally like an uncomfortable energy, but not as uncomfortable as a square. It's more of like that acquaintance that you're kind of awkward around. You're just like, hey, like, hi, how's it going? Like, because Mercury is in Aries, so it's like being able to chat and be kind of like quick and fast, while Jupiter is expanding Taurus, which is that savoring and slowing down energy. And so they're both like side by side, like, sup, guess we both gotta work together today. Like, don't know how we're gonna do that, but we'll figure it out at some point. Yeah, literally. And then the last one, the big one for today, is Sun conjunct Uranus. So the Sun, our creative expression, is right on top of Uranus, which is all about shock factor. And it's all about being a little weird and not knowing where it's going to come from. And this is based off of the fact that Uranus has the weirdest elliptical around the Sun. It's like got a strange shape, and so it's shorter and then longer, and sometimes it's 5 years, sometimes it's 15 years. It's giving Louise Filter. Exactly. It's very like how shifty she is. She's so funny. That makes me want to watch Bob's Burgers. But when the Sun sign is conjunct that unique energy, it's very much we're able to express ourselves in new ways that we're not used to, and that can come across in like suddenly saying something that you weren't expecting to say, or dressing in a way that's different than you normally do, or doing your makeup a different way, or, because I'm thinking of like creative expression, maybe coming up with an idea just like out of the blue, having those breakthrough moments. That should be today's energy. I feel like it'll be a little bit of tomorrow. We'll probably feel it for like the next 2 days, because Uranus is a very slow moving planet. So even though the Sun will be passing it at a faster rate, it's still going to have that effect on it for like the next few days. So what do you think we feel the most as a collective? Pluto is always the strongest we feel as a collective on Earth. And then I would say Uranus and Neptune as well. They're the slowest moving. So that means that like the way in which think of like when something takes longer to grow in a forest, it usually grows thicker and taller, like trees. That's kind of the energy of the latter planets, of like really establishing a, what's it called? Legacy. That's the right word. But we feel it, but it's more subtle. So if you want to talk about like strong feelings that we have as a collective, the moon. Absolutely. Hold on, I think it's gonna make me do the puzzle thing. Boop. Okay. The moon. In fact, I made a video, but I think I need to re-record it because like it's not quite what I was trying to get across. But I have a video in my drafts about how the moon feels on a day-to-day basis. And the moon kind of has this like literal effect on us as humans. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right, because it has a Cancer rising. Yeah, so the moon has this like literal effect on us as humans. Like it moves the fastest of all of the planetary movements. So we're going to notice it on a very personal level. And what I have started to realize is I'm also often interacting with people who have whatever sign the moon is in, like in their chart. It's either like their sun, moon, or rising, like one of their personal placements. Like I was saying earlier, the moon will be in Capricorn, and my dad, who's a Capricorn moon, will text me. Like it's very instant, very literal. But sometimes the literal nature isn't the sign itself, but what the sign represents. So like when the moon could be in Taurus, and then you get like a hankering for a charcuterie board. Like that is like very like the literal essence. Water within her. Exactly. I completely agree with that. Also, hello, I didn't see you sneak in here. Also, I don't know, like, I know your icon and your username, but I don't know your actual name. So if you want to put that in the chat so I know what to call you, even if it's just a nickname. Also, if you want me to do your chart as a featured student, there's still a few slots left. We're learning about transits, and so I'm using your guys' charts to show you guys how to do that. Moon and Cancer moved so much more. Yeah, Noel. Oh, I love that. I was just singing that song earlier today. The Christmas song. That's so crazy. Like, I was like, oh. But yeah, so with Cancer and the moon, that connection, I love that. The moon, it just moves so quickly through the degrees, and it's so close to Earth, and obviously affecting the waters like in our body. Oh, that's so cute. Are you also a Sagittarius or a Capricorn? I can't really remember your chart. It's been a while. Hello, KGM, and anyone else who entered that I didn't notice. We are doing transit charts, and if you want to be a featured student where I look at your chart specifically with today's transit to teach everyone about how to look at transits, the readings are in my bio. Oh, I love that. Leo rising, Cat moon, Sag sun. Yeah, Sagittariuses. Oh, that's so interesting so I'm a Sag rising and I'm a 0 degree Sag rising, and I was just saying earlier how Pallas Athena, which is, where is she? I can't find it. Oh, it's behind me right here. Pallas Athena, right there, the little gold one, just entered Sagittarius. Oh, and part of fortune is in Sagittarius. Love that for us. So it's got that Sagittarian energy for our strategizing. So we already are pretty comfortable with the Sagittarius energy. But with Pallas there, she's like, how can you use that in a chess move to like think long term with wisdom and expansion? Yes, I'm so excited for Jupiter to enter Gemini. Like, I'm so excited. Like, that's gonna be on the between the 25th and 26th, because I think it's like late evening, because some articles will say 25th and 26th, and I haven't looked up the exact hour yet, but we'll probably feel it just a little beforehand anyway. But that weekend of the 25th and 26th of this. That's so interesting about long-term thinking. Yeah, exactly. Long-term thinking, long-term goals, but particularly ones that feel exciting or passionate. Oh, I love that. Yeah, anything that you're like excited or passionate about, anything that makes your mind feel like it's expanding. So philosophy, spirituality, and astrology, like we're chatting about today, and using that to carve that path forward. Because Sagittarius likes to go where it's never been before or where no one has been before. So, what time I pop in? I know. Have you noticed that? I love that. I always notice that in Brenna's lives. Like, I always say that she's the reflector collector. But I do notice that when we're doing readings, we always end up with a lot of Scorpio moons because she has a Scorpio moon. And then, so it's interesting to see on mine that I'm getting a lot of Sagittarius and Taurus energy because I have Taurus, Mercury, and Venus, and then Sagittarius rising. But yeah, so I find it pretty interesting that the Pallas moving into Sagittarius just happening today. I'm very curious. I haven't really looked at Pallas transits that closely just because there's so many placements to look at with transits that it's like it just depends on which ones are really activating your chart personally. So it makes sense that the moment it hit my rising sign, I was like, Pallas is a very interesting placement to be looking at today. Thanks for the follow. I use Astro Matrix. This is time passages behind me, a screenshot of it. I liked time passages, but now it's making you do paywalls for readings, which is really frustrating. Hold on, I just need to check real quick. But back when I could just pay a certain amount per month and then get the whole thing, it was great. But yeah, now I'm learning the ins and outs. The only thing I don't like about Astro Matrix is that you can't do transits as easily. I like to be able to look at the double transit chart. Like, I don't like when it's just telling me what's happening. I want to see it. I think I've kind of figured out how to do it, but I was able to do it for like not only myself but my clients. So now I'm just using my laptop, and I've been using AstroSeek. Yeah, like I'm very much like I like to learn the rules to break them. So I don't like when other people tell me like this is what's happening. I'm like, show me, and then I can make my own opinion about it and see if I agree with you. Like I think I have it's like probably my gate of skepticism of like, okay, that's how you think it is, but I don't know if that's how I think it is. Okay, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying that you might be. It's my MGMO. Yeah, exactly. I just like, well, I like to learn like the nitty gritty of things. I think that's my Gemini sun. I like to learn all of the facts and be able to like have them in my arsenal. And I don't want to have like, it's why, well, first of all, freaking hate CoStar. Get that off your phones. It's such the way that they describe things. They're not even astrologers, first of all. Just learned that gate in my chart. Oh yeah, 63 too. I love that. Yeah, I guess so. What I'm learning is to be skeptical of things outside of me instead of doubting myself all the time. I wish someone had told me that when I was like way younger, but that's okay. I learned it now. Oh, 9th house moon. Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, next year part of fortune, so learning is like really good for you in general. Yeah, my Jupiter is in Virgo in my 9th house, so that's another reason I like the nitty gritty of things, because Mercury ruled signs love the details and like love to know like down to like the source of something, like get me in there. Whereas, which is funny because then it's Jupiter, which is like the big picture. So I love to do like the zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. Asteroids are the best. I will make content on that. If you guys, if you leave it in the comments in like whatever video you decide on my thing, I'll find it. But if there's any that you have requests about, I'll do like a reply video and talk about the asteroids, because there's so much to mine there. I just like really feel like they're underrated tools in our arsenal, because that's what this is. This is a toolbox, and it is also activations. So all planets and all these points, where they are in your chart because they're in your chart in that specific way, they can only ever be activated by those degrees. So for instance, like we were talking about with your chart with the Chiron, the only reason that Chiron is being activated right now is because it's hitting the degree in yours. So it was a lesson you were always supposed to learn if you've lived till this far and gotten to this transit. So yeah, it's the tools. So I really like to use it as like a divination tool. Yeah. I feel like coming at it from a witch's perspective, there is a lot of intuition involved, but then I also love forms of divination that are based off of facts. So like I love like bibliomancy or things like that, where it's like the more you learn and the more you see in like the real world, the more it's like giving you messages that way. I know, it's so funny. I don't know if you guys were here in 2020, but I joined Witch Talk in 2020, and it was mixed bag. So half of the people on here were like, yeah, it's going mainstream, and then the other half of them were like, burn the witch. And like I feel like they weren't quite ready for us just yet. And I do feel like now with Pluto and Aquarius, all of us weirdos, are finally getting our due diligence and getting people to actually respect us as human beings. Cancer in the 12th house, and yesterday with that. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I think we're supposed to like learn it when we're meant to. So if you ever get like frustrated with a placement in your chart and you're just like, I just do not get it, don't worry. You'll find out eventually. The stars will not let you not know. It's just probably not as pertinent right now as you think it might be. Like I remembered I wanted to learn so much about, was it my Chiron? Yeah, and mine's in Leo in the 9th house as well. And it was like, the first time I learned about it was really triggering, because I was like, whoa, you're telling me that was unavoidable? Like all that like painful shit that I went through was just like, we did that to you on purpose. I was like, great, love that. Love that I can't avoid that. That's so lovely. But like you learn over time, like I said, like how to have more grace with that placement. And so, yeah, love that journey for me. Thanks. Glad I signed up for that. I don't remember signing up for that. Was I drunk when I signed up for that? Like, I just like imagine my spirit self before I came down here, just like high off her ass, being like, sure, I'll sign up for that. That sounds great. Like, because otherwise it makes no sense. What is it, that like being a 3-5? Yeah, 3-5 MG. It's funny because like the always standing out thing is an interesting thing to learn about, because I was never treated that way, but I'm sure like people maybe perceived me that way, but like I never saw myself that way. Like I always kind of like had this weird thing where I always think that when I leave the room that people like forget I exist, like object impermanence. So it's interesting with like learning about 3-5 MG and a Sag rising and stuff, like how much like we're told that like our aura is like so big and expansive, and like especially with my Leo Chiron, I'm like, people saw me? What? Like, I'll say when you do realize why you have certain placements, and yeah, it is quite the light bulb moment, and it's helpful because then it feels validating. It feels less like I can remove myself from victim mode a little bit better, because I'm like, okay, well now that I know that's why it's happening, how can I empower myself to turn this around and make this for me, even if it's just to like feel my feelings and like have honor my grief in this scenario. Like I know that eventually down the line I'm gonna meet somebody who went through the same grief, and that we can be there for each other. Learning to embrace my shortcomings as my places to pivot. Yeah, because that's the thing is like I said earlier, we're not perfect. We're never going to be perfect at any of our placements. And also, when it comes to being a human being, we're supposed to have shortcomings because we're not supposed to do everything. And especially as manifesting generators, we already have so many ideas that it's kind of like, why not do the ideas that connect to the things not only that you're passionate about, but that you're good at? Like what is it called? Ikigai or something from Japanese culture, where it's like, not only what you love, but like what you're good at and what would serve the function of humanity. It's like finding that crossroads to help you limit all of the like overwhelm from all the many, many ideas that you would have. So the paradox is we've created perfect. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's like the perfect and imperfect at the same time. Perfectly imperfect. Because it's like the ways in which we have our flaws and the things that like we think suck about ourselves, someone else thinks the same about themselves, and then you can kind of have a relatable moment in that and be there for each other. And then, like, for instance, if I was like an amazing athlete, I probably wouldn't be on here talking about astrology because I'd be at the gym training all the time. So it's like the limits that we have are like for a reason, to keep us on path. Otherwise it's all spread out and you're just going like this and not getting anything done. So I always say that it's like, I want to have a structure that I can be free within. So it's like the structure provides safety and security and like a rooting. Like the trees out here, they're all really like tall and skinny, but they have very, very deep roots because it's really old. So the wind in their branches helps them sway, and they're very bendy so that they don't snap. And then the roots below keep them in one spot, but they're still moving. So it's like, I kind of feel like that's how a lot of us are supposed to be, is like, we're supposed to have these deep roots and structures and disciplines so that we can be a little bit more flexible with the ebbs and flows of life. It makes the gene keys make more sense in how you balance shadow with gift and CD. Yes. Yeah, no, the gene keys. So it's interesting because I know Brenna's been super getting into the gene keys right now. I learned about my personal gene keys a little too early, I think. Like, remember how we were talking about, like, learning about placements before you're ready? I was very much like, I was just kind of, like, off path when I learned about my gene keys. Oh, the analogy with the trees. I love looking at nature and channeling messages from them because they genuinely have so much to tell us. And so honestly, just like staring out the window, you'll just like learn so much about life. It's great. But I'm glad it resonated. But with the gene keys, like I remember learning about, I can't remember, I think it's the one at the very top. I think, is that your pearl or something? But I remember learning about mine and being like, no, I don't want to, like, I don't like that is my pathway. Like, it was something about, like, being at peace and not being as, what's it called? Like, constantly driving towards something. And I was like, ooh, don't like that. Especially being a manifesting generator, I'm like, I want to go, go, go. Healthy wood energy. Oh, that's cute. I love that. I wish I could, if you know more about that, I would love to see content about that, Noel, because I don't know as much about Chinese medicine. I've seen like little bits and pieces here and there, but I don't know any of it personally. But yeah, the pearl sequence. Yeah, I didn't really like being told like that eventually I was going to like reach almost like this like Zen stoic space, because I was like, I like caring about things. Like I like going after fiery. Oh, yay, cool. I'm like, I like being fiery and going after stuff all the time, but I realized that what they meant was more about like having an inner peace, and like, it's not that I'll stop going after things, it's more that I'll be more detached to the results of them. And again, being detached to the results to them doesn't mean you won't get the results you want. It just means that the journey part of it is going to matter more than the result part. And I really had to learn to respect that with my own personal journey. But just being told initially, I was like, I don't like that. My main key is 26 and it's invisibility, and I was like, I'm tired of people ignoring me. That's it. Yeah, exactly. It's like stuff like that where it's like, what do you mean that thing that I don't like about myself is like never going to change and I just have to accept it? I will not accept that I must accept this. But yeah, I feel that way with a lot of my astrology placements too. Like, what was the other one? Oh, my Cancer South node. That one was pretty like annoying because it's like your comfort zone is being like emotionally secure, and then my North Node in Capricorn being like I have to go after things in this like very ambitious sort of like, not cutthroat because that's like the unhealthy side of it, but like in a very like dig deep within to keep going kind of energy. The more I study it, it's becoming, yeah, I feel like invisible to me is more of like being a scientist, like kind of getting to actually be so aligned with your gene key. Yeah. I feel like it's like being a scientist in the sense that you get to observe things. Like, you know how like in testing for, especially like in psychology, they usually will lie to them about like what the test is about, and then they're kind of like behind the wall like observing them. Like I feel like that you could like work with that as far as like your energy, especially as a Sagittarius, because I know you like to be involved with people, but it's like you could make it to where your ability to stand back and just sort of see how things are going, it's like you're definitely able to like pick up on like what's necessary and like what the patterns are of the moment. Oh yeah, I've all right except for, wow, mine are all left, so I have to have structure. It's funny because a lot of my placements are masculine. And my environment is valleys. Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, we have literal opposites. Like mine's mountains. So I'm up here looking down below, observing everyone, and then you're down below, like looking up, like, what's going on up there? Oh, that's so funny. But if you guys have any questions about upcoming transits or the transits that are happening right now, some of you might have missed the earlier discussion of the Venus sextiling Saturn, Mercury semi-sextiling Jupiter, and Sun conjunct Uranus. Mine is mountains too. I just went to Arizona. Oh, I love that. I don't like heat, so I try to avoid Arizona at all costs, but it was beautiful the few times that I was there. I'm living literally on a mountain right now, so definitely feeling like I'm aligning more and more with my post-30 transits, because I turned 32 in like 2 weeks. My favorite major transit happening this year, Jupiter in Gemini. I'm so happy. I'm so happy about Jupiter in Gemini because it's a year-long transit, so it'll be till next spring. And listen, your girl needs a break, and it's gonna be interesting because it's in my 7th house, and I just got divorced last year, so I'm kind of like, what is that going to look like with Jupiter expanding my one-on-one partnerships? But it's also like giving a nice healthy opposition to my rising sign, and like I'm Jupiter ruled, so like it feels nice, feels good. My environment is mountain sidereal. Oh, interesting. I haven't looked at my sidereal human design. I know in sidereal for like my astrology that I'm a Scorpio rising, Taurus sun, and Capricorn moon, which it's funny how both of them make sense to me, but I always explain to people who want to know the difference is that sidereal is based off of looking at the constellations from an Earth perspective, versus the actual, or the other version of astrology, the Western version of astrology that we're used to, is from the sun's perspective of like where the constellation is in heliocentrism. Sag, Ophiuchus Sun, Pisces Moon. Oh, wow. Like, playful, lighthearted energy coming this year. Yeah, that would be really great. I would love to have, or wisdom. Having like that expansive wisdom in my 7th house would be quite nice, actually. I would like to make less stupid decisions when that comes to that. Not that they were ever really stupid, but just, you know, would like them to be a little more wise. I would just like that a lot. But also just it being on my sun sign is going to be very interesting. Hello! You're like, come on, Jupiter. Yeah, no, for real. I'm like, please, be nice to me. I feel like I've been seeing a lot of Zeus synchronicities lately, like swans and stuff. Ooh, which is interesting. So I was looking into Castor and Pollux, which is the Gemini twins. Because I just posted the same for Zeus. Oh, I love that. It's because of our Sagittarius energy. I've been looking into the mythos behind all of the zodiac signs so that I can do content on it. I already posted the Aries myth today, and I was looking at Geminis, and okay, so this is so fascinating. So I was just telling Brenna, I don't know if she's still in here, but when I was just telling her about why Geminis kind of have a dark side to them, I was like, I think it's because Hermes, which is Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, not only is he the messenger god, but he also helped take souls to Hades. So he wasn't the only one. Thanatos also did, but whenever there was like an influx of extra dead people, he would take the souls and take them to Hades. And so there is kind of that energy of like kind of morbid curiosity with Geminis. But then I was looking deeper into the Castor and Pollux, who are the twins of Gemini, and I already kind of knew this, but I was putting 2 and 2 together, that the twins, one of them dies and the other one's like, hey, like, share my immortality with my brother so that he's not dead anymore. And Zeus is like, okay. So he splits the immortality between the two. Now, what I didn't know is that in some versions of the myth, that means half of their time they spend down in the underworld, and the other half of the time they spend up in Olympus. So that adds yet another quality to Gemini, where it's like half the time we are literally like heavenly beings, and then the other time we're down in the underworld in the dark nitty-gritty of stuff, being like more human and also a little bit more morbid. And I thought that was so funny. Yeah, the horse and the human for Sagittarius, and then the two different one of them, Castor, is a demigod, and then Pollux is the human, I think, because what happened was Leda, the woman who got slept with by a swan, she is their mother with Zeus, but that same night she also gets impregnated by her husband. Like, I don't know what words I'm allowed to say on TikTok Live, but right? Isn't that interesting? Especially with Jupiter moving into Gemini, because Jupiter rules, obviously, the opposing sign. It's interesting to learn more about this juxtaposition of, like, half the time feeling like a demigod and the other half the time feeling like a dead person. Like, can feel so light or they die. Yeah. And also, it's, like, never personal with Geminis because they're air signs, so it's all knowledge. Obviously depending on their placements, because they could have other energies in their chart that lean more personal, but with Gemini it's like, oh, that's interesting, and like they just catalog it. But yeah, with Jupiter being in Gemini, it's gonna expand on this duality, this dual nature. I feel like we're going to see that a lot in the collective as well, with half the time our lives feeling like more quote unquote like heavenly or Olympian than normal, like feeling very like, yeah, I can do this, and then the other half of the time being like, I am going to take the longest vacation mentally, spiritually, and emotionally that I possibly can, and it's gonna seem like I'm dead. but also just like going back and forth between like the best we as humans have ever felt and the worst simultaneously, and having to really wrestle with that on a philosophical level. And so that would be Jupiter and Gemini. I'm trying to think of what I was saying also with that. Oh, with the swan twins. Yeah, so one of the twins is a demigod, and then the other one is a human, because one of them is the son of the king that was her actual husband, and the other one is the son of Zeus. So he splits the demigod splits his immortality with his brother when his brother dies. Thing that would have indicated... Ooh, that's a good question. I still have it up, so let's see. Pluto and Scorpio in the 3rd house. Was it when you were like a kid, like in like up until high school type era? Because you have Pluto at 1 degree in Scorpio, so it would have been like, would you like to know immediately what it means to have Scorpio energy in your chart? I've died almost twice, once when I was a tiny baby. Yeah, that tracks. You also have Venus in Scorpio on top of your IC, your Imim as I learned. I thought it was coli for the longest time, but apparently it's Cheli. And then again at 25. Do you have the 25th degree anywhere? You have 23. Interesting. We were learning that sometimes different degree numbers correlate with the age we are, to do with those things. Not always the case, but sometimes. Technically 24. Yeah, you have your vertex point at 23 degrees in Scorpio. So something maybe that started fate-wise at 23 ended in the NDE at 24. But in your 4th house, so it's like in like a more private part of your chart, generally to do with your maternal side. That was the beginning of... Yeah. Shit, yeah. What's a lie? You also have... Where is your... Yeah, because you have all of those placements in Scorpio in your 4th house, so it makes sense that it would happen to you as a young kid first. Yeah, I'm glad you didn't succeed too, because otherwise I would never have met you. And you're awesome. But all of those placements, you also have your Saturn in Scorpio, which is interesting. So it's like having to learn the discipline of what it means to be so close to the other side. I do find that a lot of people with NDEs and that kind of experience end up with a responsibility to people who are grieving to kind of learn how to be their healers. And you guys end up always like having like this deep connection with like ghosts and spirits. Care of myself. Yeah, that tracks with your chart, like Saturn and Scorpio in your 4th house. Yeah, because the 4th house is where we are nurtured. It's connected to like motherhood and our maternal family. So like all that matriarch energy. And when Saturn is there and in Scorpio, it's very much like emotionally intense experience with learning how to father ourselves in our mother house. So it's like you were both your parents. Yeah. I'm only just now connecting with ghosts. That's never been a thing for me. I usually work more with nature and deities. So it's been interesting working with scorpionic energy lately. Well, that's awesome. I'm really proud of you. Yeah. I mean, dang, it makes sense. You're like, honestly, I would, if I was as connected to spirits as you are, especially with all those placements in your 4th house, I would almost like have like a room dedicated to the ones that are constantly trying to visit you. Because it's like your house is literally like the underworld, kind of, like always. But that doesn't mean it's always bad. Sometimes it's like your grandma's just trying to give you her recipe. Like, oh wow. Oh dang, you both have a lot of scorpionic energy. That's why you guys are so good with Brenna. She gets so many good Scorpio energies. Fourth house, Scorpio, icy Venus, North Node, Jupiter, and Pluto. Damn. At least it's interesting because you both have Venus in Scorpio, but it's interesting you having North Node and Jupiter there as well. There is this energy of like really tapping into your Scorpio and like embracing it as much as possible for you, Noel. I feel that as well. Yeah, I feel like because North Node is your destiny, so it's something that's like maybe naturally an uncomfortable placement, but it's like you're still gonna go after it anyway. And at least Venus and Jupiter are there to help you value that path. And also you become very powerful there with Pluto. Jupiter at 29 degree. Oh yeah, so you're definitely sharing a lot of that wisdom, especially later in your life. You're going to be basically like that witch in the woods that we all go to ask for favors. Oh, 28. Still same. Well, there's still 15 minutes left. If anyone wants to add a reading to the live, I can do one more before I have to go. But this has been so fun. Thank you guys so much for being here with me today. This is my first TikTok live, so intense. Yeah, 29 degrees. I'm lucky. I don't have that this lifetime. Oh, thank you. We always love when you come on live. So thank you, Gabe, for being such an awesome presence. Yeah, it's my very first one. I've done, I did an IG live a few years ago, but this is my first TikTok one, so. Just sneak that in there. Just thinking, oh, yeah, I have a lot of 0 degrees this lifetime. I have a 0 degree rising, and then I have a 0 degree north and south node. I think I have something else too, but I can't remember. Thank you, I appreciate that. I've never worked with that one. What do they work? What's working with Tai Chi about? Tai Chi? So 0 degrees means that we already mastered the previous sign and we are starting over in the new sign. And the new sign is like having a fresh perspective on it. And it's like our soul is kind of like having a little bit of an adventure. So like, for instance, with my 0 degree Sag rising, it's like I don't have quite as much weight as like a 29 degree 444. As a 29 degree Sagittarius, like I don't have as much of like the weight of the wisdom of the world, because like Sag is all about teaching. So I have a little bit more of like that, oh, she's a new teacher, let's see how long she'll last, you know, before she's bitter. So it's like that, like kind of like juvenile energy of like, yeah, we love this. And then like when it gets like a little later in the degrees, it's like it's been 84 years. Like, I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Like all of that. Ooh, prosperity and fortune. Well, thank you, because definitely need a lot of that in my life. 0 degree aspects. Yeah, exactly. So, and then I feel like the middle is very like either the teenager testing the boundaries or the adult, like I'm mature, but I still have some learning to do. Yes. Jupiter energy. But I think that's also probably why we've been seeing a lot of Zeus stuff, is Jupiter entering into Gemini. Thank you. I've worked very hard to be this lighthearted. Yay. Okay, cool. I'll put you up. And then I think it'll be closed after that anyway. Noel. That's my sister's middle name, so that's pretty cool. But it's weird, I keep getting that song stuck in my head, so... and also keep seeing stuff about Christmas, even though it's like May. Oh, I see, you forgot to put it. Okay. Hold on a second. Edit. It's funny because Judy and Gabe had the same year. Now you two have the same month, so I'm like not even having to switch over the info as much. Perfect. Oops. All right, let's see the transits for you today. And two of you are in New York. Okay. Okay, so we have a Leo rising, that's correct, yeah? So we just say, oh, that is interesting. I'm glad you stopped doubting in yourself, Gabe, because you have a lot going on for you and we need your energy. So I'm glad it's still around. 24 degrees. Okay, perfect. Then I have your information in here correctly. Let's learn about how to read transits. So I'm going to look first at the numbers in your chart and see if any of them are matching the transit numbers. That is the easiest way to read transit charts, is to look at the matching numbers and then finding out afterward like what type of aspect it is. But anytime I'm feeling overwhelmed by like looking at the transit, like I'm just tired or something, I just go, okay, like where are the matching numbers? And then I just look at those ones first and see which ones stand out. Yes, exactly. No more hiding. Even though you're like invisible, it's like be invisible by choice and not because you think you have to be. So I want to see if there's anything matching here. Oh, okay, so Mars is trining your Mercury right now. 3-5 generator. Oh, I love that. And I think I mentioned earlier me being a 3-5 manifesting generator. So that's super fun. And I like that for you with the Mars trining your Mercury right now. So Mars is at 9 degrees of Aries, and then your Mercury is 9 degrees of Sagittarius. So very similar transit to what Gabe was going through with, I think it was Chiron instead. But Mars is really giving your Mercury a boost. So creating content right now would be amazing. Yeah, with the Pallas and Sag, yes, exactly. I feel like you just have to like bring in all that firepower, Noel. Like I think we were telling you like you don't have to worry so much about like, was it you that we were saying you don't have to worry about like having like your face and your content and stuff, but it's like, but definitely put your content out there. But you're a Leo rising, so I do kind of feel like at least having like something of your presence involved will be really important. But I love that Mars is really pushing your Mercury right now. So it's like letting you, so I was gonna say your voice, like if you do like voiceovers or ASMR or anything of that kind, that would be really great for you right now. Although it's funny because with Aries, Leo, Sag, fire energy, it's not really very quiet. So it would be more of like singing, doing sound drums, like sound healing with like the drums and things would be really cool. But it's definitely also teaching you a lot of self-advocacy through communication, like really communicating your boundaries, I've been posting a lot of Aries content because of the North Node and Chiron being in Aries, but, and also chronological order. But with Aries, the myth is actually about, do you guys know about the Golden Fleece with Jason and, oh my god, I totally forgot. How Jason has to get the Golden Fleece. It's like a myth. That's what Aries is based off of. And so, yeah, so it's like the Golden Ram first was a hero. Jason and the Argonauts, thank you. I kept mixing it in my head with Theseus and the Minotaur, and I was like, Jason and the Minotaur? No, Jason and the Argonauts. So predating Jason, before he had to go get the Golden Fleece, it was on a ram, and this ram saved a prince and almost a princess. She did fall off the ram at one point, and died, but so the prince was the only one that survived. He gives this ram to the king that saves him, and the king is the son of Helios. So that in my head means that the sun is pretty happy with Aries, because the son of Helios saves this prince who was riding on the back of Aries, the ram. It's not called Aries yet though, it's just the golden ram. And so there's this hero aspect. Then it's sacrificed. So it's kind of like learning how to sacrifice as a form of showing gratitude for your life. And then the things that it is sacrificed to, the body is given to Neptune, which is Pisces. So the body is given to spirit, or the ocean, or emotional health. And then the fleece, the golden fleece, is given to a grove of trees that is dedicated to the god Aries, which is why it gets its name Aries. And the golden fleece itself is like this coveted outer layer, but it is also a sacrifice of great value given to the god of war, and it is protected by a dragon. So I feel like Aries has this like protective quality where it protects things of value that belongs to it, and also that it is very protected by dragon energy. So when it feels like you're crossing its boundaries, it's going to show up with the dragon flame and the Aries Mars, like the Martian warrior energy. So with that, having this easeful energy with your Mercury, it's definitely having and Mercury in Sagittarius, which is all about wisdom. It's like knowing how to wisely counsel people in ways that supports your values and your boundaries, and make sure that you're like protecting your energy. So I love that. Let's see what else is going on here. Do you have any questions about that? I know I talked at length about the Aries myth, so. Yes, that's exactly it. Cause like my Mars is in Aries, so I have that naturally. So I totally get it's like the dragon spitting fire, but it's like only when necessary though. It's only when you like anger is just our protective self. It's just our, like my pen. It's just our little white knight. It's like I noticed that something was encroaching on my safety, and so my inner fighter popped out. That's what anger is. And so it's supposed to be very sacred because it is showing us where to keep our boundaries, and and it doesn't mean that we have to be cruel or mean, but it does mean we have to stand up for ourselves. And that's where that like inner fire comes, because it can be really scary to stand up for yourself and to be brave and to like tell people like it is. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, all my other placements are super peaceful, except for my Mars and Aries. So it's just like, just don't piss us off, you know? I mean, you're a Sagittarius, so it's like, you're gonna have that jovial energy, but you're still a fire sign. So it's like, you know, the Sagittarius is that because they have so much knowledge about fire and their inner fire, they can wield it wisely, but they will also wield it. Needing it. Yep. I feel like all of us are being tested one way or another on how to defend our boundaries in ways that are really uncomfortable because of Aries being in the North Node being in Aries right now. So it's like all of our collective destiny is to learn self-advocacy in ways that push us out of our Libra comfort zone. And so for you, that's really in the energy of speaking. So don't be afraid to tell people like it is. Just make sure that it's coming from a place of integrity, and then it doesn't matter if, like, not that it doesn't matter how they feel about it, but it kind of doesn't. It's like if I'm defending my boundaries and my peace, then you being upset about that is you being upset at the consequences of your own actions. I'm trying to see if there's anything else before Pisces and okay, and we have another trine here. We have Neptune in Pisces trining your Jupiter in Scorpio. So what I was saying earlier about you getting sort of this expansive energy and sort of this wise teacher energy from your Scorpio placement in the occult and in the supernatural, that is getting a beautiful, like, easy boost from Neptune in Pisces. So you're really tapped into your spiritual side right now, and that's really, really boosting the occult side of things. So it's like you're learning about secret knowledge that makes people uncomfortable to really sit in, because that Scorpio is about discomfort. It's the sign that understands that we lose things to death. It's the first sign that comes across death as a subject. All the other signs are learning other things, and by the time we get to Scorpio, we're like, oh, things die, and I might die someday. And so I need to care a lot about the things that are currently in my life, and the things that don't serve me, that be gone. I don't need you in my life, because, like, I'm only here for so long. Yeah, I love that. That's perfect for that. Especially diving into the charts in a very intuitive way. Like, if you notice, like, I intuitively feel like your Mercury in Pisces means that, like, you have an artistic way of singing, like, versus, like, for somebody else, it could be like, you love to talk about the ocean. Like, there's so many different ways. So it's like using your intuition to decide which version of each sign belongs to each person's chart. I've been learning so much of astrology, and it's like, yeah, isn't the psychology fascinating? That's another thing attributed to Scorpio. Scorpios are the investigators. They always like to look into, like, the depths. So they find, like, the secrets pretty easily, because they care so passionately about things. When they're like bloodhounds, like when they're on the trail, they're going to follow it all the way to the bitter end, because they care so much about it. So it makes sense also with psychology that they're going to figure out, like, psychologically, like, how death affects us as human beings. Ooh, put the sixth house energy to the side a bit. Have you been emphasizing, because you have an Aquarius sixth house? Oh, but it's ruled by Capricorn. I see. So it's interesting. Oh, are you oh no, Cap Moon. Okay. We see the depths. Yes, exactly. And you scour them, and you're comfortable there, so you're able to, like, sit with it and really mine it for its wisdom, and then bring it back to, like, share to those who are worthy. Because that's the thing, is Scorpios are really good at keeping secrets. So it's like you're learning it for yourself, but then you're also going to share it with people that you deem, like, worthy students in a way. Like, who will I share this secret with, if anyone? It's almost like you kind of, like, hoard secrets the way that Tauruses hoard, like, physical items. With Neptune, though, there is a very big spiritual side that's also connected to it. Let's see. Yeah, your sixth house, Cap Moon. Although it's heading into, like, with Pluto is in your 6th house, so you're kind of getting a rebirth in your 6th house. So it's like the practicality is like, how can you be practical in a way that serves the greater good of the collective right now, instead of just your ambitious Cap Moon, which is still always going to be necessary. We're always going to need all of the signs at all times. It's just that certain ones are going to have more focus from the collective than others. And so you're having a bit of a rebirth in your health and routine. Yay. Okay, yeah. Yeah, definitely, like, I feel like it's like share it because you have that Leo rising, so it's like you do have the performance, like where you should have eyes on you and people should be like looking to you to be like, oh, what's she going to do right now? Just like in general, I'm just curious. I just want to pay attention to her. And then with the Aquarius 6th house and then your Scorpio 4th house, it's like meanwhile, like this is all being collected down in your privacy, because your 4th house is your most private house in the chart, so it's like the side of yourself that people rarely see except for your family, even if it's just chosen family. And so you get to use that, and then you get to pick and choose what you want to share with the collective, because you have a Taurus midheaven, so it's whatever would give you the most like financial security, frankly. If you feel like something is interesting but there's not really much like monetary gain there, then it doesn't need to be seen by the collective because it's not going to help you or us. I always say like your personal placements, when you're working with them to the best of your ability, is your highest path. So it's like you don't have to like worry about the way in which your path is, because it's like it was designed specifically for you to have it that way. All right, I'm going to hop off. This was a lovely live. If you guys have any other questions about astrology, I do have office hour appointments where I can personally mentor you on anything astrological or spiritual, or even just do readings for different transits if that's what you'd prefer. I do have, I think transit readings are still up. And then I do plan on going live again later this week, Thursday and Friday. So if you want to be a featured student, which is what I was just doing with Noel, where we were learning about how to read transits by reading her chart with today's transits, you can also sign up for those Thursday and Friday class sessions. But otherwise, this has been so lovely, and thank you guys so much for joining me on my first live. It like really brought me like hope and confidence that I can do this more often. So this was really great having such good energy here. Absolutely. I'm going to learn how to turn this off. And